the natural layout of Donington is more flowing. It doesn't have any bumps. So a lot of the time we've been working on the bike, we've been trying to work on making the bike more compliant over bumps. It seems like very rigid sort of feeling from the bike. And every time we make it more compliant, we then lose grip. But at Donington is a high grip circuit with its in recent years has been resurfaced. So the problems we've had in the past don't really show so much at Donington. So we've got a stronger package there. So hopefully the bike working better at Donington, and then the improvements we've made, if we're able to actually couple those together, we might have a really interesting race ahead at Donington Park. Yeah, the weekend sort of got away really well for us. The first practice I was even fastest for a good period of the time, and then ended up second overall in the first practice of the weekend. And I put that down to the fact we've been here earlier this year, and we've actually been to this circuit earlier in between time to do further testing with the bikes. When I first entered the track, I had the track very much clear in my mind, and I went straight to the time that we were able to do. And it didn't take a long time to sort of build up and get the speed we were capable of. So then we moved into practice 2. I did the same lap time as I did in practice 1. I didn't unfortunately improve any. And because of all the other riders, making new settings and finding their feet a little bit better with the track, I kind of slid down the order. However, when we looked at the ideal times, if I put all the best sectors together, it was actually capable of more like a 27.7. So there was some time left out on the track. I just didn't put the perfect lap in. So we made some changes to the bike and went out in practice 3, and yeah, it seems strange. Like we've kind of got a place where the bike's working, and I'm not saying it's working great, but it's just the place where it's working. And we venture off to try and find something that works better, and doesn't, we come back, and then we venture off another direction and then come back. And it's a shame because we've got a bike that's sort of working okay. Most people would be happy with it, but to be better, we have to find something better. Yeah, I went out and qualified. I didn't do the best lap time or best lap together that could be possible. I ran off the track at the old hairpin, and in coming back onto the track, trying to find position, got in Scott Redding's way. So yeah, ruined the first lap on the tyre, and then did a sort of slower lap to find position on the track that was free. And I did do a 27.9, which isn't a terrible lap time, but obviously not quick enough when people are going a lot faster than that. So yeah, that's sort of where we are. We've got some ideas to try some some other little tweaks and things like that. But honestly, the amount of things we've tried and kind of gone off and then had to come back again, it starts to damage your feeling of potential is out there. You've got to, I guess, you've got to stay positive all the way through. Going into a race now, so not really much we can do at this point. If you make a big change before a race, you run the risk of making the bike worse. So we just got to roll with it. Hope that our pace in qualifying is not as quick as everyone else, but maybe the race pace that I'm able to do will be more competitive than just that one lap qualifying time. So that's sort of where we sit at the moment.
To the stage, two-time Brennan's British Superbike champion, Dow Racing Honda's Josh Brookes.
I got a podium at round 2, which was a bit of a surprise. Not that you're surprised that you can do it, but just surprised that it came so early. And then, you have a more, average middle of the season. But then, like, Tommy's very vocal about he's not happy with his bike, but yet he won a race at Cadwell, So, Andrew was strong on the podium, so you go, oh, well, then the bike's capable of doing it. We've just got to, mush all the pieces together in a bit different manner, and maybe it'll be there more consistently. Yeah, I mean, if we had the answers, we'd be out there winning. So at the moment, it's we're full of questions, but just haven't got every answer.
How do you see the weekend panning out?
Yeah, this weekend's a bit different. Like when we were here for round 2, we had the long race on Saturday afternoon. That was when I had my best result. But the lap time was also quite strong. Like the lap time I did on that day, I repeated the lap time many times over. So I don't really know, like the bike's much the same as it was then. We haven't, like spring rates are the same, preloads the same, gearing's the same. A lot of all the main components are all exactly the same. So it's strange that I'm not able to reproduce that lap time again on demand. But like I said earlier, the only thing I can think of is maybe track conditions are different. But then when you see everyone you're racing against doing really great times, you can't blame the track. It's not like everybody's slow. It's just you. You've got to match what the best are doing. So the sprint races haven't really worked out. I think most of the better races I've had have been the longer races where you can kind of wear people down. They start to damage their tyre, and with 5 laps to go, they start to show fatigue and even maybe physical fatigue even, So at the end of the longer races is normally where I see better improvements from myself. But this weekend it's 4 sprint races, so there's going to be no tyre games or no strategy where endurance is going to play into your favour. You just got to have the speed, the outright speed from the get-go. So it's just up to me to kind of, the team to find something a little extra, which I'm sure if we could have found it, it would happen by now. So what's left is up to me just to dig in and see if I can find some grit and determination that might push us a little further forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause, please. Josh Brookes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Cheers, mate. And particularly now we've got racing coming up, so no one really wants to be too daring and try something new because we could actually make it worse. So one thing we have done, it's quite long-winded, so I'll kind of cut it short, but when we were here at the last race, we had the bike a little bit shorter in the wheelbase. The length of the chain was a bit shorter. And when we came back here for the test, we made the bike longer, and I think the bike felt better. And what I mean by that was more comfortable. When you change direction at the chicane, it was more comfortable to ride, but I don't think it was quicker. I think I have to accept that the bike's going to be a bit more uncomfortable to ride, but maybe with it being shorter, it's a bit more hard to handle, but maybe creates more grip. Surprisingly, I didn't realise we were running it longer until we kind of analysed all the steps from here before. So it's really the only one thing that's different from the last time we were here when we went quicker. So we're going to try and reintroduce the shorter bike and see how it goes. There's a lot more to it, but it just gets more technical and more boring. So I'll cut it short there. Yeah, so we've had a pretty big weekend of action. We've got 3 races today, and we had 1 already yesterday, so a bit more than we would normally have. But the races are all sprint races, so a bit shorter than our usual racing length. People sort of commenting about, oh, we've got 3 races today, and we should have had 2 yesterday and 2 today, and that wasn't possible because of the broadcast timing. So we had to do 3 today, and I'm not really that bothered by it. I'm not really for it or against it. I'm sort of neutral. But I've heard quite a few people say they're not pleased at how tired they're going to be and blah, blah, blah. And some other riders have made jokes like, well, I'm going to save myself so I can really give you hammering on the last race and all this sort of thing. So yeah, for me, I don't mind. Obviously I feel some sense of fatigue in my body, but it's not like I'm like walking to the bike for the last race. It's not that bad.
There is Brian.
everyone. Hopefully the staff, I trust the staff here have looked after you kindly all day and you've enjoyed their hospitality. So yeah, I've gone out into the races. Yeah, have mixed feelings about how the races have gone. We've been making little changes with the bike. It's difficult, so hard, because we've got limited number of tyres we're allowed to use in a weekend, and the sessions are quite short, so it's not like you can make lots of changes during a session and be comfortable that you're making improvements. It's sort of a bit of roll the dice and see that if what you've done has worked out maybe in a race. So as it's turned out, we have made some little changes, and you know, it's difficult. The last changes we made just for that race then are completely unknown, because that bit of rain before the race totally changed the racing character of the track. So the track felt really greasy, and I think it was for everybody. But for me to try and evaluate whether the changes we made were a good step or worse is now completely unknown, because the track conditions were so different. But you know, the guys, the technicians that are in the garage are confident in what they're doing. And I kind of have to put a bit of trust in what they're doing and the next step they'll make. They'll probably make that decision based on the information they can see by the suspension travel, how hard I'm braking, how much I'm leaning, and all that sort of thing. And they'll probably have a more like mathematical idea, as opposed to just me who has a genuine bum to seat sort of feel. So anyway, I've gone on a bit too long. I'll pass over to Lee, and he can explain where he's at in his recovery from injury. So I could say for myself that I can talk about motorbikes all day. I'll be pleased to stand here and do that. But as you know, I've got another race this afternoon to do, so we'll wrap it up at that. I will stick around, or we'll both stick around a little while to do some photographs and maybe sign your lanyards and things like that. But I hope you've enjoyed your experience in the Dow VIP hospitality, and we look forward to having you back. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
On that note, I've really missed having Lee in the team. It's normally, you know, not that common that you get on well with your teammate, and often you're trying to beat them first more than anyone else on the grid. But I've actually really missed having Lee in the team. You know, we always chat after races, talk about the track conditions, talk about the bike, and our setups are quite different, but yet the way we describe a problem with the bike is very similar. So there's actually a lot of communication between Lee and I, probably more than I've had with some of my other teammates that I've not got on with so well.
You never know, get a good start, get towards the front, you never know.
Yeah, I'm feeling it actually. Even just the outlap there, the bike felt good, and yeah, track conditions are perfect for racing. So
Josh Brookes was also looking pretty handy on board the Dow Honda. As we came down to the foggy S's, Brookes, whatever he did to that bike between race 3 and race 4, it completely turned its fortunes around as he started challenging for top 5 positions.
I should say that it's been a really mentally challenging weekend. Went into the races, and we had been trying little changes to try and find, you know, another step. But obviously, if we've already been here and raced before, and we've already done tests here, it's not like something's just around the corner that's ready to be like pounced on. So we just persevered and tried and tried and tried, and it felt like we were just treading water, not really getting any progress. And I don't actually know fully what we changed on the bike, to be fair, but for the last race, the bike felt really, really good. It's a great way to finish the weekend. I went forward every lap of the race, ended up in 5th at the end. Was in a battle. I feel like I'm not, you know, I'm already happy with a 5th, but I feel like when the safety car came out, it kind of disrupted my pace a little bit, because we were like really strong up to that point. But it's kind of like works both ways. You know, the safety car bunched everybody up, but then I didn't really have, I feel, the package to go again after the safety car laps. So all in all, I feel like a super positive end to what's been a really challenging weekend, and that comes on the back of what's been a number of challenging weekends. So hopefully it's positive energy going on to the next round at Assen.